What's going on, everybody? This is ANJ, and welcome back to the network. And today we're going to do some Broncos talk. And with that in mind, I actually was going to post another video in place of this, but it wasn't what I consider to be up to standard. So I wanted to give you something a little bit better and with a little more effort behind it. So with that said, let's just go ahead and get right down to business. Of course, there was a matter of the loss to the Atlanta Falcons last week, week 9. A lot of things to unpack there, and a lot to go into with this upcoming matchup with the Las Vegas Raiders. And, well, I gotta take back there being a lot to unpack. It's really just nothing new, if we're being perfectly honest. A lot of lackluster play on the offense early in the game. I mean, you just want to get off to a lot better starts than what they have been doing throughout the course of the season. I mean, I think the best starts that I can remember have probably been against the Jets and maybe even the opening night game against the Titans. And even then, I feel like there are a lot of things that could have been a lot better in both of those games. That being said, of course, it's also an issue to where those rough starts on the offensive side have also led to some defensive issues. Oakland hasn't entirely been better in that regard. However, they are standing at 5-3, second in the AFC West race. Not that they're actually going to catch Kansas City, but at the same time, they're the lone team to hang a loss on the Chiefs thus far. And really, you'd like to think that they'd be on a little bit better trajectory than what they have been at times. That being said, there's also a matter of the rushing defense for both sides, really. Denver allowing around 120 yards a game and the Raiders 119. So a lot of the same things that you're seeing there. Really, if we're being honest, as far as Denver's defense has been concerned, they are a very capable defense. But the issue being that the offense just does not get going early enough. Drew Lock, to me, doesn't seem to find his strides early in a manner that you would like to see from a starting quarterback. I mean, it's as if he just does not have a way of coming out of the gates. Like, there's a huge block that stands in his way, and he never really provides anything of significance in the early going of games. I mean, just was looking over highlights from the game in Atlanta last week, and they didn't get a touchdown until early in the fourth quarter. I mean, they were riding on 2 field goals. They were down 27-6 throughout up until that point. And even as they started getting a rhythm going, Atlanta was just too far out for it to even matter. And those are things that you just can't have, especially when you have a defense, which again is a very capable defense, but is also very injury riddled. I mean, with what we've had going on, I mean, a lot of our guys are going to be available with the exception of Bryce Callahan. At least that could be the case. He's listed as questionable as of right now, so very much going to be a game time decision. Same thing on the offensive line with DeMar Dotson and Jake Rogers. Dotson, I feel like, has been significant because he's a veteran pickup from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's actually been pretty solid for the most part. So you'd like to think that his availability will be very, very key, as he'll likely have to deal with the Raiders sack leader and Max Crosby, who currently has 5, which that's nothing outstanding or anything like that. Of course, I can't really say the same for Denver as, um, again, the rushing numbers, the rushing defensive numbers haven't been anything to write home about. And the sack leader there is Bradley Chubb with 5.5 sacks, only trailing immediately by, excuse me, with a close second of a Malik Reed with 5 sacks, but he hasn't really done a whole lot to be considered outstanding. It's just he's the only one that's doing as much in terms of production as Bradley Chubb is. But, it's been a very good fill in for Von Miller, all things considered. I mean, you can only expect but so much trying to fill the shoes of an elite pass rusher the likes of Von Miller. I mean, that says something in and of itself. One person I would have liked to seen a little bit more from would be Draymond Jones. He has definitely had moments, but hasn't really had any sort of breakthrough performances. So you'd like to think that there's an opportunity for that coming up. There are issues on the Oakland offensive line with Colton Miller, who is their starting left tackle and is listed as doubtful. Gabe Jackson is questionable, so we'll see where that goes as far as those two are concerned. But more than anything else, again, it's just largely can Drew Lock get off to a good start? He actually showed some really good flashes against Atlanta, especially on a lot of connections to Jerry Jeudy, who had one of his best weeks last week. It was, as I pull this up here, um, he had 7 catches for 125 yards, 1 touchdown. And to me, I feel like, he's also had a lot of moments. He's slowly but surely actually been the one player to me that has actually broken out more than anybody else. And I would even argue is probably the best player on the team to this moment. So, that all being the case, hopefully you have others that contribute. Again, other guys have had moments, specifically Deshaun Hamilton, and one guy who I thought was actually making strides in Tim Patrick, but injuries have slowed him down. So he's probably going to slowly but surely start getting back into game shape. And once that's the case, you'd like to think that the rapport between him, Locke, and the rest of the offense is going to be in a place where it's going to pay dividends for the Broncos offense. And again, I can't say this enough. It's just very important because you can only leave the defense but so much to do, especially with as many injuries as there have been to deal with. Mike Parcell, Von Miller, both out for the duration of the season with injuries. I mean, as far as Von Miller's concerned, there was said to be a chance that he could come back depending on a potential playoff run, but realistically speaking, I'm not seeing that being the case. One other thing that I want to point out is uh, based on the injury report, I don't see Josh Jacobs' name on there. He wasn't active for the game against the Chargers, but somebody that was former Bronco Devontae Booker. And in all honesty, I didn't really think much of Booker during his time in Denver. There was nothing impressive about him. He never lived up to any of the opportunities that were presented to him. And if anything, he actually got outshined by Philip Lindsay last season as Lindsay, or in Lindsay's rookie season. I'm pretty sure that was last season. It might have been the season before, but regardless, I mean, to have had all those opportunities and not done anything with that, it's no wonder that he's not with the team now. It's really amazing that he was there as long as he was, but he's actually looked pretty good with the Raiders, so, there's a very good chance he may be looking to have a little bit of revenge against the Broncos this weekend. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully we hold up our end of the bargain, but I'm definitely going to be counting on that being an issue. Of course, Derek Carr has, for the most part, looked pretty good. And if he's anything like what we've seen of him in his better moments, then that's really going to be a problem, especially if Drew Lock and the rest of the offense can't get going. Another thing about that is going to be, will Philip Lindsay be able to come through healthy enough and actually produce on the level that he's been capable of? And can Melvin Gordon provide him that complement out of the backfield? Right now, I'd say the answer to that's probably going to be a no, as they just, neither of them have really been outstanding in their own way. I know I've been using that word a lot in this video, but I think that's something that we have to look for is anyone going to be outstanding on either side of the ball? And even with all that being a concern, another issue I find important to point out is going to be on special teams, because they have a capable guy with the Raiders, Hunter Renfro, who, if you give him space, it's definitely a problem without any question. And I say this largely because of a mishap that took place in Week 7 against the Chiefs, where they allowed a punt return. It was a return one way or the other, and there's just no excusing how bad the Broncos looked on that particular play. And it's things like that where, if they can't sharpen themselves up, especially in terms of discipline, then it's certainly going to be a long day in Vegas. I'm going to save a prediction on that for the other predictions video that I'll be doing here. I'll probably also have that out today, well, sometime after this video is uploaded. But those are just a lot of my thoughts going into the game this weekend. That being said, I'm interested in knowing what you guys have to say about that. Am I blowing this out of proportion a bit, or is everything I'm saying remotely spot on? I mean, I don't know. This is just the observations I've had throughout the season, and I just don't know where else to go about that. But nonetheless, again, let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed, definitely hit me with a like down below and share to anyone who may be interested in the content. If you're new, subscribe. And with that in mind, I thank you for being here. Thanks for having me. Take care.